Welcome to Life Stories. Today, we dive into a tale of betrayal, resilience, and the power of choosing yourself. Megan Carter, a quiet and grounded woman, had her life turned upside down when her younger sister, Ashley, took everything she had worked so hard for, her wedding date, her venue, and even her dignity. But what Ashley didn't know was that Megan wasn't going to back down. This is a story about standing up for what you deserve, finding strength in the face of manipulation, and reclaiming your happiness. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe to hear the full story today. My name is Megan Carter, and I've always preferred the quiet life. I'm a professor of visual arts at a small liberal arts college in Portland. I don't chase trends or care much for the glamorous world of influencers. Like my younger sister, Ashley, I've never needed thousands of followers on social media or carefully curated selfies to feel validated. In fact, I've always chosen stability over the flashy excitement that Ashley gravitates toward. I suppose that's what made my family view me as the more boring one, content with the smaller, simpler things in life. But there was always a strange, unspoken competition between Ashley and me. She was the golden child, the one everyone admired, adored, and showered with attention. She lived for the spotlight, and my quiet, grounded nature was always in her shadow. I didn't mind it much. I understood that she thrived on being the center of attention. But as much as I hated to admit it, a part of me longed for that same validation. Last fall, I got engaged to Daniel, an architectural designer I met at a guest lecture. He was the kind of person who noticed things others missed. His gentleness and the way he made me feel seen, truly seen, was something I hadn't experienced before. We connected over shared passions, long walks along the Willamette River, sketchbooks filled with ideas, and endless cups of black coffee in cozy cafes. Daniel wasn't concerned with popularity or appearances. He loved me for who I was. And for the first time in a long while, I felt special. We decided to keep things simple for our wedding. We booked a small art gallery for May 20th at 3 p.m. The very place where Daniel first told me he loved me. It was perfect, a little intimate venue where we could create memories. Surrounded by people who knew our story, people who had been with us along the way. I didn't want an extravagant affair with a guest list that felt more like a competition. I just wanted a day that reflected our relationship, genuine, authentic, and personal. The planning went smoothly. The invites were sent out. I found a florist who understood my vision. And the caterer was fantastic. My dress was custom made by a former student of mine. And I couldn't wait to wear it. I had dreamed of this day for so long. And now, everything was falling into place. My heart fluttered with excitement whenever I thought about it, until 3 weeks before the wedding, when Ashley decided to make her announcement. It started with a phone call from Ashley, asking me to come over to our parents' house for a family dinner. I should have sensed something was off, but I didn't think twice. When I arrived, I saw champagne already poured, and Ashley was glowing. She practically bounced in her seat. And our parents were smiling at her as if she had just announced she was saving the world. "I'm getting married," she squealed, her eyes sparkling. "To Jake. We're getting married on May 20th. I froze, the words hanging in the air. "What do you mean May 20th? I thought, that's my wedding day." Ashley laughed, the sound light and carefree. But there was an edge to it. "I know, but you didn't trademark the date, Megan," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Besides, you can reschedule, right? Your wedding is just a small one. Ours is going to be huge. We've booked the Armitage Hotel. It's going to be incredible. Aiden's uncle pulled some strings to get us the ballroom. And it's the only available date." My heart sank. The Armitage Hotel. It was one of the most exclusive venues in the city. How could she take my date? My venue. Just like that? My mind raced. But I looked to my parents for support. Maybe they'd say something. Maybe they'd defend me. But instead, my father shrugged and said, "Maybe it's best if you adjust. Ashley's wedding will have more guests, more press. It's better for the family. Megan." My mother chimed in. Megan, don't be difficult. Your ceremony is more personal. You can move it to the next weekend. Everyone will understand. I felt a wave of disbelief wash over me. You want me to reschedule? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I've been planning this for over a year. Ashley's smile faded, replaced by something sharper. Don't be selfish, she snapped. I stood up, unable to breathe. I grabbed my bag and walked out the door without saying another word. My mother's voice calling after me. Think about what's best for the family. That night, I told Daniel everything. He didn't say much. He just listened, held my hand, and reassured me that we'd figure it out. But I couldn't help the knot that formed in my stomach. Something told me this wasn't just about a date or a venue. It was something deeper, something personal. The next morning, I got a call from the gallery coordinator. I'm so sorry, but we've just been informed of a last-minute change. The gallery is no longer available on May 20th. She said, it's been booked under Ashley Carter's name. I dropped the phone, my hands shaking. I couldn't believe it. She had literally taken my venue. The one place Daniel and I had poured our hearts into. The place where we had fallen in love. The place where I had dreamed of walking down the aisle. I stood there, gripping the counter, feeling the world tilt beneath me. This wasn't a coincidence. Ashley wasn't just taking my date. She was trying to erase me. But she didn't know who Daniel really was. And what we were about to do next would change everything. I stood in the kitchen, my mind racing, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Ashley hadn't just stolen my wedding date, she had taken the heart of it. My heart sank even further as I replayed the call with the gallery coordinator. The venue was gone. It was as if everything I had planned for the past year had been erased in a single stroke. Daniel, as always, was calm and steady. He walked into the room with 2 cups of coffee, paused, and then noticed the look on my face. What happened? He asked gently, setting down the mugs. She took the gallery. I whispered, barely able to form the words. Daniel didn't flinch or get angry. He didn't even seem surprised. He crossed the room to me, pulling me into an embrace. We'll figure this out, he said softly. This isn't just about a venue. It's about something much bigger. I nodded, still too numb to respond. Deep down, I knew he was right. This wasn't just about a wedding. It was about something deeper. Something Ashley had been doing for years. Manipulating, controlling, and stepping on anyone who got in her way, especially me. I had always been the one who stepped aside. I had always been the quiet one. The one who didn't make a fuss. The one who let her shine. But not this time. Not anymore. The next few days passed in a blur. I barely slept. Hardly ate. I spent hours scrolling through wedding venues online, trying to find a place that could hold our ceremony on short notice. But nothing felt right. Nothing could replace the gallery. Then, one night, Daniel came to me with a plan. He had made some calls. Discreet ones. And had found a place that would be perfect for our wedding. It was a private art estate. A sprawling modern glass pavilion nestled in the forest. With indoor gallery wings, private gardens, and a reflection pool that seemed almost otherworldly. I couldn't believe what he was telling me. This is my place, Daniel said quietly. I've kept it low-key for years. It's my private studio, my personal gallery. If you want it, it's yours. I stared at him, speechless. This wasn't just a backup venue. This was something much more significant. He wasn't just offering me a place for our wedding. He was offering me something no one could take away. It was his, and now it could be mine. It felt like a symbol, a statement that we were taking back control. Not just over the wedding, but over everything Ashley had tried to take from us. The next morning, I woke up with a new sense of determination. We had a plan. We would move forward, and this time, it would be on our terms. But things weren't over yet. Ashley, as expected, didn't take the news well. A few days later, I received a message on Instagram from Jake, her fiancé. He'd never contacted me before, and I was surprised to see a direct message from him. You deserve better than what they did to you. The message read, "Can we talk?" I stared at the screen, uncertain. Why was he reaching out now? What did he want? I decided to reply with a single word. Why? His response came almost instantly. Because I'm not blind. I see what's happening, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm the next one being used. My stomach twisted as I read his words. This wasn't just about a stolen wedding. This was about something much darker. Jake had seen through Ashley's carefully constructed facade. And suddenly, I wasn't alone in this. He was starting to see the truth. 2. We agreed to meet the next afternoon at a cafe near downtown. I wore sunglasses and a hoodie, trying to stay as low-key as possible, not wanting to draw attention. Jake arrived looking professional, dressed in a charcoal blazer. But there was something different about him, something vulnerable, as though the weight of everything was finally catching up to him. He didn't waste time. "I didn't know she stole your venue," he said, his voice low and serious. "She told me it was available. That you had decided to delay the wedding for budget reasons. But I can see now that she lied." I felt my stomach turn. "She lies about everything," I said quietly. Jake nodded. "This whole wedding, it's like a marketing campaign for her. Everything is about the optics. She's pushing me to get sponsorships for the ceremony. She even hired a videographer who works on reality shows. Last week, she even asked me if we could pretend to have met on a beach in Bali to make the story sound more exotic." I blinked in disbelief. "What? She really said that?" Jake rubbed his face in frustration. "Yeah, she did. And that's not even the worst part. I found out something else. Something that's been bothering me. She has a burner phone. I saw it in her makeup drawer. She's been texting someone late at night, deleting messages when I asked about it. When I confronted her, she got defensive and said I was paranoid." I felt a chill run through me. Could it be? Was she really cheating? Or was she just using Jake for the perfect image? "I don't know," Jake said, his voice shaky. "But I can't ignore this feeling anymore. I feel like I'm just another prop in her perfect life." The weight of his words hit me like a punch in the gut. Ashley's need for control, her obsession with image, and her utter disregard for anyone else. It was all coming to light. And now, Jake was finally starting to see it too. As we parted ways, Jake looked at me with a quiet intensity. "Whatever you're planning, I want to help." It was all happening. The pieces were falling into place. And no matter what Ashley did next, we weren't backing down. The days that followed felt like a whirlwind. Daniel worked quietly behind the scenes, making calls to contacts in his circle, putting everything together for the new wedding venue. I had never seen him so determined, so purposeful. He wasn't just standing by, he was taking charge. And it gave me the strength I needed to keep moving forward. He asked me to trust him. And I did, completely. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I had a clear path ahead of me. As the wedding day approached, our guests received beautiful, hand-delivered invitations. They were elegantly printed, with gold leaf detail and custom calligraphy. But there was something more, a private RSVP code linked to a luxury estate venue. A place that only a select few knew about. The Redwood Pavilion, Daniel's private art estate, was everything I could have dreamed of and more. People were already talking about it. And it felt like the ultimate statement, a statement that said we weren't just going to let Ashley win. We were going to do things on our own terms. The final blow to Ashley came in the form of a phone call. She wasn't angry, she was smug. She called me up and practically bragged. "Hey, sis. Just wanted to give you a heads up. We're releasing our wedding trailer this weekend. You know, since yours might look a bit underwhelming in comparison." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I let her talk. And when she was done, I simply hung up. The next 2 days passed in a haze of anticipation. I knew that Talia, as she liked to be called now, had no idea what was coming. She was so focused on the optics, so concerned with the public image of her wedding, that she didn't realize the real story was already unfolding. Without her, then, just as Talia had planned to release her wedding video, everything changed. An industry blog leaked the guest list for our wedding, names of A-list artists, designers, media personalities, and even politicians. The story went viral in hours. Talia's worst nightmare was just beginning. Within hours, she sent me a message in all caps. "Why is Jake refusing to finalize our guest list? What did you tell him?" I didn't respond, but I knew exactly what had happened. The truth was out, and it was spreading faster than she could control. At that exact moment, Daniel was sitting in his studio, finalizing the seating chart. He had planned this moment perfectly. One seat was reserved for a very special guest, the editor-in-chief of the magazine Talia had been desperate to get featured in for years. That was the final stroke. The final piece in the puzzle that would reveal her true nature to the world. I didn't hear from Talia again until the morning of our wedding. The sun was shining, the skies were clear, and there was a buzz of excitement in the air. I felt calm, more than calm. I felt a deep sense of peace. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I had reclaimed my life. I wasn't the sister who always stepped aside anymore. I was the woman who had taken control of her own happiness. As the ceremony began, the atmosphere was electric. Guests arrived in luxury cars. And soon, the grounds of the Redwood Pavilion were filled with people I had admired and respected for years. People who had been drawn to this place because of its beauty and significance. They had come not just for us, but for something much bigger, something that Talia had tried to take, but could never have. I walked down the aisle to the sound of a string quartet. My heart steady, my dress flowing like water behind me. When I reached Daniel, he took my hand, and in that moment, everything else faded away. It was just us, just the two of us, ready to start our new life together. But the real moment of revenge came during the reception. Daniel stood up for his toast, glass in hand. "Thank you all for joining us on this incredible day," he began, his voice carrying over the crowd. "Today isn't just about love. It's about truth, integrity, and standing up for what's right when someone tries to silence you." He looked directly at me, and my heart swelled with pride. My brilliant, kind, resilient wife had her wedding nearly stolen from her. Daniel continued, the venue, the date, even her dignity, but instead of shrinking, she rose. He gestured to the AV team in the corner. "And today," he said, "we'd like to share the full story." The screen behind us lit up, and Talia's voice filled the room. "She'll cancel. She always does. She's soft. That gallery is mine. I don't care what it takes," she said, her voice dripping with malice. Gasps echoed through the room. And then came screenshots of her texts. Her messages to Jake. Messages admitting that she had tried to sabotage everything. The final video clip was the most damning. It showed Talia laughing with her friend, mocking me. If she really cared about that guy, she'd step aside. She's not even marrying for love. Julian's just some artsy dude with no money. My wedding is the real deal. The room fell silent, and then, like a wave crashing on the shore, the applause came. It was thunderous, relentless, and just then, the doors to the reception hall burst open. Talia stood there, alone, her makeup smeared, her designer gown out of place. Her face was a mixture of shock and disbelief as she saw the truth laid bare before her. Her mother stepped forward and said loudly, "Talia, enough. Leave. This isn't your day." With that, Talia's world came crashing down. The golden child was no longer the center of attention. She was outcasted by the very people who had once worshipped her. 3 days after our wedding, I received a letter, not an email or text, but a handwritten note in a real envelope, with no return address. Inside, it simply read, "This isn't over. You stole everything from me. Just wait." At first, I should have been afraid. Talia had made so many people's lives miserable with her manipulation, her quest for control, but by that point, I didn't fear her anymore. She had lost the only things that mattered to her, her image and her power. And it was all because I had chosen to stand up for myself. In the aftermath, Talia's career fell apart. Her sponsorships vanished. Her management agency issued a public statement cutting ties with her. Even the luxury skincare brand she had been launching cancelled its collaboration. The final blow came when Jake released a dignified announcement stating that their engagement had ended due to irreconcilable values. He even donated their wedding deposit to a women's shelter, in my name. Meanwhile, Daniel and I received messages from all over the country, artists, designers, even former students, thanking me for standing up against the kind of quiet cruelty that many people let slide. I felt like I had not only taken back my wedding but my life. When Talia tried again, showing up at my university, it was the final attempt at reasserting her control. But things had changed. I had changed. I wasn't the same person who had always stepped aside. I stood up for myself. And I wasn't afraid anymore. Talia's breakdown made headlines. She disappeared from social media. And her name was no longer trending. As for me, I felt a profound sense of peace. Daniel and I spent our honeymoon in Florence, basking in the love we had fought for. And I knew one thing for certain. Choosing myself was the best decision I ever made. Thank you for following this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe for more life stories.